Hey, what's up, YouTubers? It's like 10 at night where I am on the West Coast. Probably 1 in the morning if you're on the East. I'm just working away still. But yeah, I mean, I got fired up. Had a call from a friend of ours, one of my business partners and partners in crime, Randall. Call him the captain. He's a ferry boat captain. Awesome guy. But talking about stamp collections and sales, online sales, marketing, some of the interesting things that have been happening that have happened over the last 15 years. And since I've moved out to the West Coast here, I moved out about 3 years ago now, just over 3 years ago, and things have changed because I came from a pretty big market, and a big market for collectibles specifically in Winnipeg, Manitoba. You guys might want to check out a map to see where that is if you are in the U.S. If you're in Canada, you probably know where it is. It's where everybody in your work threatens to send you if you're bad. But yeah, check this out. We moved out here. I used to be a part of a flea market in Winnipeg. We took that flea market from a flea market that you could walk into on a weekend, probably shoot a cannon through and not find anybody, including the vendors. I mean, the vendors had their stuff there, but it was stuff they didn't care about. And the vendors, most of them didn't show up on the weekend. And we took it from that to being a every weekend auction as well as a flea market, and having probably 5 to 15,000 people come through on a weekend on a very regular basis. It was a significant income for us at the time, several thousand per weekend. And that, it didn't last. Because I did move here, I kind of got sick of the flea market scene as well. I chose to focus on online sales. Others did want to do the flea markets. They still do. Awesome. I love you guys for it. But here's the thing. I moved out to the West Coast, where I am. I'm in Nanaimo, British Columbia. And you guys really got to check this out. The first couple flea markets I went just as a purchaser, as a buyer, looking around. And the same stuff that I was flipping at auction and pallets of at auction, and the same stuff I was flipping for $2, $3, $5 a box, $10 a box, some of them a little bit more, even $50 a box. People were asking out here astronomical amounts, like crazy amounts. There's this one guy, I'm gonna try not to mention names in that, but he likes to set up on Wednesdays of all days, which is a crazy time to be setting up. During the day, everybody's at work. Has this crazy flea market going on, thinking he's making some sort of income. But he put some stuff out for $80 and $45 and $60, where I could walk over to a store and buy a brand new one for $20. Right. One of the things that he had were these 2 antique chairs. It's kind of funny because I won these 2 chairs at auction for $2 a piece. Turned around and flipped them to him. On a good deal. I think I made $5 on the deal, or $10 on the deal, because I sold them for $15 to him, and he's trying to sell them at $85 each. Come back and do something stupid like that. But you see all these marketers and these flea marketers and these guys that go to these places on the weekends fighting. When I say they fight, like they're literally sitting in a room fighting about the prices and how they can sell these to people. Nobody's been very good in the sales. There's one guy, actually, he's pretty good. I'm not going to mention his name, but he's good at the sale, right? He assumes the sale every time. He's into closing. But I kind of told him, I pulled him aside one day and I was like, man, if you're going to do that, you may as well go sell cars or houses, because at least then it's a decent commission, not $5 items that, have something to do with posters or whatever. So, the funny thing is, I was talking about, there's a show coming up. Here's a great way to not have a good flea market is, there's a show coming up. I called 3 times to get a table. I don't really like doing flea markets. I thought, hey, it's on a Saturday. It's going to be a busy day. It's sponsored by a church, so everybody from the church is going to show up. But it's a coins, stamps, which is what I do, and collectible sale. One of the things is, though, there's not going to be anybody there with stamps, because nobody that I know in town who does deal in stamps or has stamps is going to be there selling them. And the three guys that I can think of that would have stamps are going to be asking the craziest prices that I've ever heard of for them. They're stuck back in the 80s when the market was okay for them. And even then, the market was starting to dwindle. So you look at nowadays, it's pretty much everybody over 80 years old that does collect stamps as a hobby. But if you know what, there are investor markets for stamps, but I don't believe that they're a long-term investment of any sort. People aren't going to be mailing stuff 10 years from now. They're not. Packages will be sent by drone, so you guys don't have to worry about a mailman bringing it to your door. But more importantly, I want you guys to really understand what's happening in the market is that the biggest players, people like Stanley Gibbons, are gone. I hate saying it, but it's like Stanley Gibbons doesn't have a future business plan that's going to keep them in the game of sales of stamps, philatelic items, of which is what they've done for over 100 years. So I want you guys to really, get a clue on that. They can come out with an app tomorrow, but unless they're willing to sell all their stuff at market value and liquidate their assets at market value, which would be a significant decrease of what their assets are, they've lost already. Times are just catching up with them. So, and it's funny. I was actually talking to Randall about that. Like, I'll tell you, the new way of marketing. I'm an avid eBayer. I've been an eBayer for 15 years. It's how we make a living, and a really great living. I mean, last year I think we did just around 150,000 in U.S. in sales. May not sound like a lot, but when it's 80% profit, you have real low cost of operating, especially when you do it out of your place. Even with insurances, things like that. I mean, it costs us almost nothing to do. So you really got to understand. I've been doing that for 15 years now, and the market's changing. When I say the market's changing, last year at this time, there were probably about 90 to 150,000 auctions of philatelic items, of stamps specifically in collections. This past week, there was over 1 million. Okay, so when that amount come to market in a very short period of time, everything gets flooded. So I'm buying some of the best stuff that I've ever seen on the market at less than 5% of the catalog, what they call the catalog value. So the value that some company like Stanley Gibbons or Scott Publishing Company out of the US is putting out there saying, hey, this is what they should be worth. And to be honest with you, I haven't seen anything sell at full market value other than the top 5 stamps in the world. Okay, and those are investment grade. They should be in museums. They shouldn't be in private hands. Fine. I can understand why those have gone up in price. I haven't seen anything else go up in price in a good decade. And I think that everybody's going to be left behind because with the new ways of marketing through Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat, and the way the world's going, even places that I've loved for 15 years on eBay, they're going to be left behind. I mean, eBay will keep up with the times. I don't think it's going to look like what it looks like right now. I think that it's going to change significantly because they're going to get killed by companies like this. Where's my phone here? Oh, it's right here. But I have another, we look at something like Let Go and I sell something in 3 minutes on there. You look at companies like Instagram and you can order items through people's web pages now. It's fully optimized for mobile phones and you can do basically instant marketing. Now, you have to have good stuff to sell. You do have to have good customer acquisition that way. You have to be able to get out to the market. I'm starting to put out some YouTube and some commentary things on Snapchat about businesses, about what we do, and about where the market, where we see it going, where it's going to be 5 years from now, and hopefully we can stay on top of it. So, you know what? I have one thing I want to bring up is that earlier today, I was talking to somebody about doing, real sales, real marketing sales, instead of somebody sitting in a a room, all the dealers of stamps and collections, they sit in a room together fighting about prices. And when it comes down to it, it comes down to the who's out there wanting to get it done faster, easier, better, in a smarter and more economical way for the future. I mean, if you're chasing after the collector, you're chasing a market that died in the 1980s. Now, some big companies are just catching up with that. Even on eBay, you can get some of the best stamps that have ever been available on the market for less than 10% catalog value at all times. And that's I mean, we're not talking auctions and you got lucky. I'm talking you can buy it now on items that in a catalog say they're worth $6,000 and you can buy them for $200. So I want you guys to really get that's where the market is. I don't see it getting any better. All that's coming to market right now. And you got to find a different way to market those items. And I've thought of, hey, where's the future going to be? So I find crowdfunding interesting when it comes to moving inventory and keeping businesses alive, or being able to distribute at a very high level for educational or art purposes, including for film, things like that. But, you look at something like postage stamps, where is it going to be 10 years from now? It's going to be exactly where it is right here behind me. Take a look at this. This here, that's a postage stamp woven into a design on the curtains in our office here. Now check that out. Those people are winning. Okay, everybody that has that on a chair or canvas on their wall, I have one downstairs, is interesting. I mean, that's where the market is, right? Sell 10,000 items like that to big box stores to liquidate right now. Hey, you've won. Be able to sell 50,000 items like that on Instagram tomorrow. You know what? You've won. But to actually have the physical stamps, huge inventories that every dealer in the world has right now, and not a ton of young collectors out there. I mean, I've been to stamp meetings right across Canada. I'm the youngest person at every single one of them. And guys, I'm almost 35 here. It's crazy to see that everybody that did collect these, that has left them to their family, didn't see this future. They got left behind and didn't see the future of where the collector's world goes with postage stamps, what's going to happen to them, and that, hey, the best possible place for them right now is probably in schools. It's probably in art classes. It's probably to educate. I mean, I've learned more from postage stamps than any book could ever teach me, than any societal education, not even sure if that's a word, but any education system right now could have possibly taught me. I mean, I've learned more from postage stamps this past year than I did in all of my years of school on anything that I know, right? You could learn to read, you can learn about history, you can learn about current and past events that have changed the world. You could learn about everything. So anyways, I'm done my rant for tonight. Love you guys. Hit subscribe. Check out our eBay items under eBay ID Millionaire Gems. We have some amazing items coming up for auction. Lots of old books. I'm starting to go through some boxes of inventory. We might start even flipping some box lots. So check us out. You guys will all get a great deal. Of course, everybody gets some free stuff with their purchases. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow or the next day.